Hello and welcome back to another episode of my MotoGP 20 career mode here for our second season in MotoGP. And here we are for, I think it's the 13th round of the season. It should be the British Grand Prix, yes it is. So we've got one more week till that date, so we'll advance forward to that week. Let's see if we've got any notifications. We haven't on the MotoGP side, obviously we haven't got a Moto2 team. In Moto3, again, we've not got anything either. A couple more weeks until the team development we can do anything again. Bike development, we haven't got enough. Oh, actually we have. Okay, I must have just forgot to check in the last episode. But we actually have got enough research data. I don't know whether I've just accrued that, but we actually do have enough now. So I'm going to go for this frame upgrade. So there we go, that's an upgrade done there. So good job I decided to check that. So 6 weeks that'll take, so that's going to take a long time. But if we have a look at the championship standings then, in the last episode, nothing particularly interesting really happened. I won the race, absolutely dominated the race, and I've now put my lead back up to 92 points. Obviously, it took quite a big hit over the last couple episodes, but we should be on track if we can keep extending it to maybe win around Chang, Aragon time, sort of similarly to where we won the Moto3 and Moto2 titles. So I think the earliest we could possibly win it at this point is Aragon, obviously because of the really poor races where we lost a lot of points. We lost a lot of points to Marquez and to, well, everybody around him really, but Fabio Quartararo, another good result, is really keeping him in the running there in the championship. He's not too far behind Jack Miller, only 4 points down on him. Or Miller must have moved ahead of him at some point though, not 100% sure when that was, because I'm sure Fabio was already third, but I could be wrong. He's not too far behind Marc Marquez now. Marquez obviously beat him in the previous race, but he might be back at Silverstone because if you remember last season he was extremely fast at this circuit. In the Constructor Championship, obviously once again we extended our lead ahead of Honda because I got first, Marquez got second. Ducati and Yamaha now equal on points, it's extremely close between them, and they are extremely close to Honda as well. They're only 9 points down on Honda, so it's a really close Constructor Championship for that second position. And in the Teams Championship then, we've got a massive lead, 147 points. But then again, it's still pretty close, especially for a Teams Championship between the three behind. Obviously, Mishimura Ducati, 9 points ahead of the Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP team, who are only 6 points ahead of the Repsol Honda team, so it's extremely close. Majority Yamaha, I think they have dropped out of contention now, but the only reason they really were in contention, obviously they were doing fantastically earlier on in the season, just because Rossi's start to the season was fantastic, really. Morbidelli's not really done much the whole season, to be fair to him, but, well, it's not really being fair to him, but to be honest, Morbidelli hasn't really done much this season, but Rossi really was carrying the flag for the Petronas Yamaha team a bit earlier on in the year. Not been quite so fast lately, but he's still not been doing too bad. But that's the championship rundown then. Let's head into the British Grand Prix. It is Britain, so chances are it'll rain, but you never know. But I'll see you in qualifying one. And I'm hoping it's a dry weekend, but knowing my luck, it probably won't be. So then here we are in qualifying one here at a sunny Silverstone. Once again, the same weather the entire weekend, so I am thinking that it's just a glitch. I've seen on other people's videos as well, it looks to be the exact same. You just get one weather for the whole weekend now, so I'm hoping Milestone will see that, or someone else will point that out so that Milestone can see that. But anyway, let's see who's in this session with us then. So we've got Miguel Oliveira, Alex Rins. Wow, okay. I think in the last episode people were commenting like how is Mir down in qualifying one, but now we got Rins as well. I think it's just because in this mod they are so close. You just get random people in qualifying one. Then you get Takaki Nakagami, Cal Crutchlow, Aleix Spargaro, Iker Lecuona, Francesco Bagnaia, Danilo Petrucci, Jorge Martin, Joan Zarco, Tito Rabat, Alex Marquez, and then of course myself. So obviously with Rins being there, I'm hoping that me and Rins can go through for the Teams Championship, of course. Although that means Mir's already through there, so I suppose it doesn't matter too much. But it's always nice to have both your teammates opening the front in case one of them makes a mistake or something. But we'll head straight onto the track then here at Silverstone. Quite a long circuit, so you don't want to waste any time in the pit. When I came out on the track, I was still in first person from the video yesterday. I completely forgot that I would be obviously in first person from the first person challenge online. If you haven't seen that, I do recommend you go check it out. It was quite fun, I must say. But through Woodcote then, coming up towards the line, over the line then, to start our first lap here in qualifying one. Probably the first time in qualifying one history that I've not gone wide through the first corner with breakthrough. Who is this coming out the pits right in front of us? Alex Marquez! He's going to weave onto the racing line, then I had to avoid him a little bit, and we've invalidated the lap, which is my fault, but I was kind of on the wrong line because Alex Marquez came out the pits. So we're going to have to complete this lap then, and we're going to have to go for another one, so that's pretty annoying. So as we come towards the end of this invalidated lap then, it's just interesting to see what the time would have been. As we go over the line, 1:58, so actually that's pretty bad to be honest. So I'll get my head down and see if I can do a better lap on this second one round. We're running a little bit wide through the first corner. Tyre is actually quite warm, so I'm going to put it back up to traction control 4. You can see it really got roasted on that lap, but at least the front tyre is nice and warm, so the braking should be fairly good. Although the AI actually just aren't too bad at this circuit, I don't think, although that was a... It's not going to help me if I make mistakes. So 49 thousandths off the fastest time currently in the first sector, so looking to me like we might need to go for a third lap if I don't get my ideas together. So as we go towards Stowe then, braking nice and hard for Stowe. Missing the apex quite a bit, but to be honest, I very rarely hit the apex at Stowe. I mean, it's probably the wrong way to take the corner, but to be honest, I always miss the apex at Stowe. Just because it just seems it's such a wide corner. We've gone wide into Vale, going wide absolutely everywhere. Silverstone, even though I seem to win here a lot, especially online, I'm not very good at the circuit. I'll be the first to admit that. So 3/10 away then in this second sector. Alex Marquez has actually made some time upon us on track as well in that sector. We've gone really wide into Abbey. I think I might need to actually put a medium rear tyre on, you know, for this next run that I do, because I am just feeling like the front is being pushed by the rear. Could be completely wrong, but I think that might be something I need to do. So to flip the bike over then through the loop, almost losing the front actually as I flip that bike over. Out the loop then, Marquez has caught massively up to us. That is probably a sector where the AI are really good. So 4/10, nearly half a second away now. We are definitely going to have to find some more time, that's for sure. So we brake then for Brooklands. Try not to go too wide into Brooklands. Well, actually, I was going to say clip that apex. We miss the apex. Flicking the bike over then into Luffield. This is probably a sector we can get a bit of time back on the AI through Luffield. Then I was almost turning in too early for the exit of Luffield. So we come through Woodcut now on the power, just sliding that rear end, coming up towards the line. What's this going to be then? 1 minute 58.0. That's third place, and Marquez just done a 57.7, which puts us down to fourth. So I'm going to head back to the pits then now, and we'll go out on a new set of tyres, but with a medium rear on instead. So then, starting this second run, we're actually in 7th place now. Oliveira is now top with a 57.5. That's the time to beat. So as we come through Woodcut then at the end of this lap, it's been quite a good one so far towards the line. 57.0, half a second underneath Miguel Oliveira's time. That's more like it with a medium rear tyre, and that should be good enough to take us through to qualifying 2. So we'll end the session there, and then I'll see you on the results screen. So then, actually having a very good pace in the end then with the medium tyre, it does make a genuine difference sometimes. If your tyre is getting too overheated, even if it's a softer compound, it's slowing you down. So it is worth putting in a more rigid compound such as a medium tyre. I'm definitely going to have to go for a hard in the race, is what I could tell from that qualifying session as well. But I go through ahead of Miguel Oliveira, and then Alex Rins is down in 9th place in this session. Absolutely unbelievable. It is so strange how they just do so poorly sometimes, because in this mod, Alex Rins actually has the performance of Vinales normally, so I don't know why he's down in this session. But we'll go into qualifying 2 now then, and hopefully with this pace we should be able to get pole position. So here we are then in qualifying 2, and to be honest, we only did 1 lap on those tyres, so I'm going to go out on the same ones again, and if the time's not good enough we can put on a fresh set, but it's always nice to try and save some tyres just for the race, just in case I decide to do anything absolutely crazy, although I only need 1 soft front and 1 hard rear, to be honest, to save them. But either way, we'll go out on these tyres and we'll see if the time is good enough. So here we are then on track for our first run in qualifying 2. I'm hoping it's the only run in qualifying 2 as well. Through Woodcut then, that rear tyre is getting a bit worn through that right hand side of it. So as we come through Woodcut then at the end of this lap, it's only been personal best the whole way round. 57.9, so 6/10 away from Maverick Vinales' time. I'm going to have to try and go for another lap, but I've already messed up turn 1, so actually might be, this lap might be done already. So coming up towards the line once again, this time has just been even slower so far. 58.1, so 8/10 away from Vinales' time. Currently we're sat in 6th place. I'm going to have to head back to the pits and change the tyres. So here we are then with just shy of 5 minutes left in the session. This is going to be our last run. Fresh set of tyres, new soft front, new medium rear. We've got to try and give everything we've got to beat Vinales here. So as we come through Woodcut then, this has actually been quite a good lap. Coming up towards the line, what's it going to be? Oh, 67 thousandths away from Maverick Vinales, and that's 3rd. That is 3rd place, 67 thousandths away. That is how close this grid is, but I'll take that, a front row start. We'll end the session here then, but it was a massive improvement. So then Maverick Vinales on pole, 35 thousandths of a second ahead of Fabio Quartararo there. So the Yamaha obviously being the best bike around this circuit. Myself then in 3rd place, 4th for Pol Espargaro, 5th for Jean Mir, 6th for Valentino Rossi, 7th for Franco Morbidelli, 8th for Brad Binder, 9th for Miguel Oliveira, 10th for Marc Marquez. If you remember here last season, he qualified about 7th position and never got any higher than that, and this time he's qualified 10th because other people seem to have gone quicker. Dovizioso is miles off, 1.4 seconds off pole. He's a good 9/10 even off Marc Marquez in 11th, and Miller in 12th, 8.5 seconds off the pace. I don't know what's happened to Miller here, but there has been some sort of issue with that, I believe. There's probably something wrong with his bike. So the two Ducatis then, quite far down the order. The two Yamahas right at the front. They're equal on points to the Constructors' Championship. Looks like there could be a swing here. It looks like Yamaha could be trying to take that second place in the Teams' Championship away from Repsol Honda as well. So it will be interesting to see what they can do as well. Quartararo trying to bring himself into this championship fight for second. This could be the race where he does it. But next thing to do then is to head into our Moto3 race, see how our riders got on in qualifying, and then let's see how they get on in the race. So then, Daisy Jackson starting 11th place, where is Manuel Hernandez going to be? 20th. So Hernandez really has sort of lost his touch he had in qualifying, ever since that pole in Assen, really. His qualifying has not been too great, so maybe that's where he absolutely peaked with that pole position. But Hernandez, once again then, not getting the qualifying objective, whereas Daisy Jackson is. So hopefully she can try and get another top 5 finish. That'd be great, and it'd be nice to see if Hernandez can get through the order as well. You've got to remember that not only is it my home race, and technically I suppose the team's home race then if I'm the owner of the team, it's also Daisy Jackson's home race. So hopefully she can do quite well in this one. But let's get this race started then. So we're on board with Daisy Jackson, well not on board but watching her from the TV replay camera. The mouse appeared for a second there, but lights out and away they go off the line. Albert Arenas alongside has had a terrible start. Yama Masia looks like he's got the whole shot into turn 1. Jackson, oh, she's been tagged by Lopez. That was so close to a crash there for Daisy Jackson. There was massive contact on the way to the first corner, and it really made her rear end step out quite a bit, which is annoying because it's probably affected her run quite badly. But she's right behind Tony Arbolino now then as they go through sort of the Maggots-Beckett section. Lopez still trying to stick it around the outside. She's up the inside of Celestino Vietti, up into 10th place. Is she going to keep it in front of him? Vietti now side by side with Lopez behind as well. Lopez touching her again. So Lopez having a lot of contact with her in this race. She's right behind Arbolino now. She's pushing Arbolino down this straight. Side by side with Arbolino. She's going to move ahead of him. It looks like she probably will. Vietti seemed to get back in front of her as well, obviously with the contact with Lopez, probably helping him out. Foggia looks like he's diving to the inside of the track. Lopez still at the inside of Jackson. Jackson round the outside of both of them there, so up into 10th position. So she's made one position up. Not quite as many as she's accustomed to making up, but to be fair, she's had quite a bit of contact on this first lap. She's still side by side with Arbolino. McPhee now dropping back into her clutches, but Arbolino on the inside. Is he going to edge her out to the edge of the track? Yes, he is. So Arbolino back up into 11th. She's now down into 12th place, but McPhee's going slightly there side by side with McPhee on the straight, then down towards Club. No, actually, they're out of Club, sorry, down towards Abbey. That's the next corner name. I'm getting them wrong here. But she's just made up a couple of positions on the exit there. She passed McPhee. She got in front of Arbolino as well. But McPhee's coming back at her. Once again, side-by-side action. Probably the most exciting first lap we've had for a while. She's still ahead of him, though, back up into 10th position as he tries to go around the outside. He's going to pull it off, I think. Can he do it? Into Aintree. Into the loop, sorry. The Aintree's up next. I keep getting all the corner names wrong. But she's got it. She's got 10th position for now. Let's see where Manuel Hernandez is. Manuel Hernandez still 20th, so struggling quite a bit in this race. And I think he's just moving past Darren Binder there. But yeah, both of them seem to be struggling on this first lap. Obviously, Jackson's made up one position, whereas normally she makes up a lot. And Hernandez, well, he's just really struggling this weekend, down in 20th place. So then, as they come to the end of the first lap, Vietti's going for a move on Rodrigo. Can he pull it off? Yes, he can. And Jackson looks like she's trying to follow him through. She tried to go past both of them then at the same time, which actually probably messed Vietti up. I think Vietti slipped back behind Rodrigo again because of that. Lopez is actually in front of all of them. So Lopez, with all that contact, he had a really, really good first lap and actually managed to make his way through the pack. So then Jackson's closing right at the back of Vietti. She got on the inside. Oh, more contact with Vietti. This is where she went side by side with him at this point on the last lap as well. Around the outside, she had to get off the power there to not go off the track, and that's allowed Arbolino to get a fantastic run. It's almost like roles reversed for the previous lap because she hit Arbolino up the back in the same way. So Arbolino side by side with her down towards Stowe. Can she get the slipstream? It looks like Hernandez is still quite far down the order, although he's up to 17th now. But Jackson stays ahead of Arbolino then for now. So Masia then still leads the race as they come to the end of the second lap, starting the penultimate lap, which is absolutely unbelievable to think about. Vietti's looking for a move on Rodrigo once again. I'm hoping that Jackson doesn't mess them both up this time and make them drop back from Rodrigo again. But she's trying to carry the speed through the first corner. Can she get side by side with Vietti once again through this section? She looks like she's going for it. Can she go for it? On the inside of Vietti, not quite there. but can she flick it up the inside into this next corner? She did that on the previous lap, not quite, but Arbolino, again, is sticking with her. So it seems like our bikes aren't working quite as well at this circuit. Arbolino's going for it up the inside as they come onto the straight. Will Arbolino be able to pull alongside Daisy Jackson here? She's trying to get that distant toe from Celestina Vietti. Looks like that actually might be enough for her to stay ahead of him. Yes, it is. It looks like Vietti's going for the move on Rodrigo as well, but he still hasn't pulled it off yet. Manuel Hernandez then has made up one more position, so he's up into 16th. If he can gain one more, he'll be up into the point scoring positions, and it'll also be up into our objective area as well, which is always nice to see. Here comes Arbolino though, up the inside of Jackson. That was actually a really good move from Arbolino, as much as that's annoying because it's on my rider. He actually set that up really nicely, but is she going to go back up the inside into the loop? She actually is on the inside. She's sliding that rear tyre. She's struggling with the tyre temp, so I think that's why she's dropping back in this one. She looks like she's got a really overheated tyre, but she's back ahead of Arbolino once again then as they go down towards Brooklands corner. Hernandez actually making a move on Agora at the same time. So up the inside of Agora, can he pull it off? Into Brooklands. I thought he was going to go for the dive then, even though he was too far behind, but he didn't quite go for it, so fair play. But McPhee is actually down in 14th place, so if Hernandez could beat McPhee, we'll gain even more points on Petronas Sprinter Racing, which would be absolutely fantastic. So as we're about to start the final lap then, once again Jackson obviously excelling in that last sector, getting a little bit further away from Arbolino again. It looks like Vietti's still trying to get past Rodrigo, but he still can't quite do it. It's the last lap. This is where the moves have got to come. Can Jackson try and pick off Vietti? If Vietti loses too much time behind Rodrigo, perhaps she could pick off a position on him. And I can see in the back end that Hernandez has got in front of Agora now, so he's behind McPhee. As they flick it right, hopefully she doesn't get on the power too much and go near the grass again like she had on the previous lap. Yes, it looks like a much better exit, but that rear tyre, she still looks like she's suffering with the temperature on that rear tyre. Can she try and get past Vietti on this lap though? She's much closer to him than she was on the previous one, and much further away from Arbolino than she was on the previous one. But Vietti looks like he's going for the move on Rodrigo. Could that mess them both up? He goes for the inside. He had to back out a little bit there. So that's allowing Jackson to catch right up to the back of them. It is definitely a group of three now. Can Jackson do anything to get past either of them? Jackson is all over the back of Vietti now. Can she do what Arbolino tried to do to her on the previous lap? Up the inside into the loop. Oh, she actually might do what she did to Arbolino to get back in front of him. Side by side they go as they go towards Aintree. Can she try and pick off this last position? Side by side still, not quite, but she'll have the slipstream down towards Brooklands, but she's not using it for some reason. She's sitting to his left-hand side. I'm not really sure what that's all about. But to go down towards Brooklands, will she go for it into Brooklands? Oh, very close, but not quite. I don't think she's able to pull it off now because only Luffield and Woodcut left to go. And it's very difficult to make a move through either of them, although Vietti's got a little bit wide through Luffield. But I don't think it's going to quite be enough, so I think Daisy Jackson's going to come home in 10th place. Yamahas wins the race then here in Silverstone through the last quarter, through Woodcut. Jackson is going to come home in 10th position there. And where's Hernandez? Hernandez is 14th. He's beat McPhee on the line. In fact, he's got 13th. He beat Fernandez as well. So then, Messia and Antonelli absolutely dominating this race ahead of Suzuki then in 3rd place. Of course, those two are coming back in the championship at Suzuki, so they have had the pace the whole season. But Jackson then ends up in 10th, and I think on the line there, Hernandez, he managed on the last lap to get past McPhee, and he also managed to then out-drag Fernandez to the line. They were side by side apparently, but he's just got it. He's just got the position, even though to the 1,000th are the same. He must have won it on the dead heat. So actually, in Manuel Hernandez's defence, quite a good race considering where he qualified. Obviously, getting up into 13th, because usually I kind of expect that, even if they've not qualified too well, because they've been fantastic in the races on the first laps and stuff. But they seem to struggle to make up positions in this one. And actually, his pace wasn't too far off Jackson. Obviously, it's still a little bit disappointing. Not going to lie that he qualified outside of the top, was it 12 that we need to get the objective? It's a little bit disappointing, and it's obviously disappointing he couldn't get in the top 10, but he did quite a good recovery ride, so you've got to give him credit there. And obviously Jackson as well, 10th, but both of them critically beating John McPhee, so that's more points on Petronas. So in the Riders' Championship then, Messia extends his lead to 6 points ahead of Antonelli and 11 ahead of Suzuki. Fortune's actually not too far off in the championship, he's much closer than I actually thought he was. Jackson then stays 11th, 12th then for Manuel Hernandez still. Gabby Rodrigo actually moves ahead of Philip Salach, but still quite far behind Hernandez and Jackson. 20 points between our two riders, so not a massive amount, although it is getting up there a little bit, but obviously Jackson is supposed to be the better rider anyway, so it is expected that she would beat him. And she's actually not too far behind McPhee. She's 25 points behind, which is a lot, so she is closer to Hernandez than McPhee, but if they can keep chipping away, keep beating McPhee, that lead can soon come down. So if we could get a rider in the top 10 in the championship, that would be really good. In the Teams Championship then, 120 points now. We're actually quite a few points clear of Petronas Sprinter Racing, 14 points clear of them. And if you go back a couple of episodes when we had a couple of crashes, they were 14 points clear of us. So we've had a really good couple of episodes, even though this race didn't seem quite as well. McPhee struggled as well, so both of them beating McPhee. Only 22 points back on the Snipers team now, and I think I did say I was targeting 5th in the Teams Championship against the Snipers team, and I think it's still possible. 22 points in a in a Teams Championship, sorry, should I say? That's quite achievable. They're both beating Salach very consistently. I remember earlier on in the season, I think Hernandez had been battling Salach quite a bit, and in fact even Daisy Jackson as well, but that's why Salach was right behind them in the championship. But I haven't seen anything from Salach in the last couple of races, and Jackson's definitely been beating Arbolino as of late, so it's definitely possible that we could close up to those guys. The next thing to do now is the MotoGP race, starting from that front row. Can we try and get the whole shot into turn 1? I'm not too sure on that, but it'll be interesting to see how the two Yamahas get on, because they've had a really, really good pace this weekend. So we're down here on the grid then, looking at Maverick Vinales on pole, Fabio Quartararo in second place. So the two factory Yamahas have turned their season around massively. If you go back to Qatar, where were they? They were barely in the top 10, I think, in qualifying. And in the race, I don't even think Quartararo scored points. And I think Vinales got 14th or something like that. They were terrible in the race. I think they both got damage on the first lap. I think that's what happened. But it's nice to see that they have definitely improved over the course of this season. And we've had different people at the front in every race, really, because I've made it just somehow so close. And I think it is actually the bike performance that is playing a big part at some of these tracks. Obviously, I know that a lot of the AI actually have very, very, very similar performance, if not the same. So a lot of it is down to the bike performance from track to track. So that is interesting to see. Actually, seems to emulate the real-life season quite well, which has helped, obviously, with the Project 20 mod to replicate that. Obviously, I've been able to use stuff I've learnt from this. But enough rambling about that then. Let's get this race started. I'm going for the victory once again. Of course, it is my home Grand Prix, of course. So let's get it started.
The riders are on the Silverstone starting grid and are ready to face one of the most demanding Grand Prix of the whole year.
So then Vinales looking across at his teammate Quartararo. I'm, well, now looking behind to see who's behind me. Down to traction control 2, although I actually might keep it in 4. Wait for the lights to go out here at Silverstone. Lights on, away we go. The two Yamahas have got a really good jump off the line. Better than me. Pol Espargaro's got past me as well as we go down towards the first corner. Trying to be fairly cautious through it. Pol Espargaro's still in front of us, but it's not the end of the world for now to slip behind one person off the grid. Vinales still has the whole shot then ahead of Fabio Quartararo. That could be a dangerous combination, those two helping each other get along at the front, but Vinales ran a little bit wide through that section there. It looked like Quartararo could have been able to get through, and we're going for the inside then of turn 5 on the inside of Pol Espargaro. We've actually done that really nicely. We've had contact with him though. Oh, I didn't mean to move back across on him, and that's definitely affected my run. Here comes Franco Morbidelli. I was saying he'd done absolutely nothing this season really, and here he comes attacking me in the race, but up the inside of Pol Espargaro now at the end of the straight. So that was a really roller coaster straight. Had contact with Espargaro, lost a load of momentum, and then still got the inside of him at the end of it. So hitting the brakes then for Vale, going a little bit wide, not too wide though, but just a little bit. And through turn 9, you see Fabio Quartararo losing a little bit of touch with Maverick Vinales now, but not a massive gap. Obviously, you will have little gaps between riders, that's for sure. I'm hoping I didn't pick up any damage when I had contact with Pol Espargaro, but you never know. Through Abbey then, as we flick the bike over through Farm, and I believe the next corner is Village. I know most of the Silverstone corner names, it's just I get mixed up which one's which. Through Village then, and Quartararo still trying to stick on the back of Vinales through the loop. Is anyone going to tap me into the loop? Luckily not. Rins has got past Rabat, so Rins looks like he's making his way through the order. I've just seen Dovizioso down in 17th position. That's absolutely unbelievable. Pol Espargaro though, he's not dropped back yet. He's still all over the back of me as we hit the brakes then for Brooklands. This is quite a good circuit really, because there are some sectors where they are much better than me and ones where I'm much better than them, but we're closing massively up to Fabio Quartararo now through Luffield. Are we going to be able to get the inside? He's left a bit of a gap on the power. Can we try and do what Hernandez did to Fernandez? Not quite going to be able to outdrag him to the line. But obviously, 7-lap race, plenty of time to make up positions. We're sat in a really nice position right behind Fabio Quartararo now. And Vinales isn't too far up the road. Quartararo definitely wants to win this race because last year he was very, very competitive. I think he got 3rd place in the end behind me and Dovizioso, which is a crazy thing about Dovizioso being so far down the order. So here we go through turn 5, then we're going to try and do what we did to Pol Espargaro on the previous lap. As we flip the bike over then through Chapel, we've got a really, really good run. Quartararo is actually starting to drop back from Vinales, but here we go, side by side, blasting past him on the straight. Probably got a bit more top end in this Suzuki and as well. It's also just the exit was so much better than Quartararo's. He actually tried to have a look back up the inside there, but we're up into second place then. Maverick Vinales, the target. He's not too far ahead of us now though. Well, he hadn't really got away anyway, but he's quite close to us. So if we can try and pass him quickly. He's ran quite wide there as we come through the club corner. Trying to get on the power. We've actually dropped Quartararo by quite a bit. It's just that age-old thing where you pass the AI, they instantly lose 7/10 every time. I don't know what it is. We're right behind Maverick Vinales now. The tyre's getting up to temperature. We've got some good pace here. We've got on the grass a little bit though through Farm. I kind of went a bit too wide on the previous corner, and that allowed me to get on the grass a little bit on the inside of that one. So that's definitely cost me a bit of time to Maverick, but we're in no hurry at all. Obviously, we've got plenty of laps, and we're still very, very close to him. We're going on the inside to Brooklands. Not quite. I thought we were going to go for the move there, but we are right behind him. That might allow us to make a move through Luffield. He's got a little bit wide, well, not really wide, but I'm going extremely tight up the inside through Luffield. Are we going to hit the front here on the exit? Yes, we are. So up into the lead of the British Grand Prix we go at the end of the second lap. Alex Marquez having a great race. I've just seen he's overtaken his brother there for 8th place. 58.9 on that lap, so obviously massively off the qualifying pace. That's what you get at tracks where you have to use the hard tyre, to be honest. It's just quite a bit slow, although I'm struggling to get temperature, so I probably do need to start trying to pick up the pace a little bit. So at the end of this lap then, we've put so much time into Vinales. Their pace was so slow, 57.1. That's good enough for pole position, by the way, on our first flying lap on our own in Power Mode 1. This is what I mean about the fact that the AI just are so much slower in the race because they can't do their qualifying times, whereas in this game it's very much possible to do qualifying times in the race. So then, as we're about to start the final lap, it's been a very, very leisurely race for me. My pace has slowly dropped again, obviously back in the 57, or in the 57.7s now, 4.7 seconds in the lead. This should be easy to get to the line, but it looks like some of the really fast guys are right in the back because Miller has been overtaken by Rins, and they were battling over 15th and 16th, so yeah, it's been a bit of a crazy race, this one, in terms of the actual performances of the AI. Obviously, Miller qualified about 8 seconds off the pace as well, which was absolutely ridiculous. Dovizioso's right down near the back, Rins is right down near the back, Alex Marquez is near, sort of in the top 10, I think, and he's not really been that near there at all the whole season, so this has been one really, really weird race, that's for sure. So as we come through Woodcut then for the final time here, we're going to win my home Grand Prix in Silverstone, 57.4 on the last lap, so picking up the pace once again. So then, winning by 5.3 seconds in the end, then ahead of Maverick Vinales in second, and 6/10 back to Fabio Quartararo in third. I was going to say something like, good job they're outside that range where they get put 2 minutes behind, but that bug actually has been fixed now anyway, so luckily that won't happen anymore. Paul Espargaro then 6.7 seconds behind, 8 seconds behind for Morbidelli. Then Alex Marquez was actually 6th place, a fantastic result for Alex Marquez, ahead of his brother there in 7th. Miguel Oliveira in 8th, 9th for Brad Binder, 10th for Joan Mir, so even with Mir being in Q2, not great. The top Ducati all the way down in 11th, and it's the Pramac of Jorge Martin. He's been doing pretty well as of late. Valentino Rossi just behind him, then Petrucci. Rins ends at 14th, Miller 15th, Lecuona 16th, where is Dobby 18th? This is going to cause some shake-ups in the championship, that's for sure. And it has. If you have a look at the championship, then the two Yamahas are both moving up the order now. Dovizioso dropping back behind Alex Rins. Miller dropping behind both of the factory Yamahas, and Vinales overtaking 3 people. So overtook Miller, Rins and Dovizioso there. So yeah, quite a good weekend for both the Yamahas. Quartararo only 13 points back of Marc Marquez now, and Vinales only another 9 back of him. And the championship is actually starting to look how I expected it to. Over the course of the season, it's looking a bit more like how you would have thought the championship should look the whole time. So it does seem that over the course of the season, the milestone performances do actually work out to be about right. So maybe that's something to definitely take into consideration, because I was thinking that they were completely... I had no idea what was going on, but actually it does look like how I expected the championship to look sort of at the start of the season. In terms of the AI placements, not the points, obviously. But yeah, we've now got a massive lead. We're back over 100 points in front again, so that means we can actually win the championship. Is it at... No, at Chang, isn't it? Chang has 4 races to go, isn't it? So we can actually win the championship at the Chang International Circuit at this point, if we don't lose any more points to Marc Marquez. In the Teams Championship then, mission winner Ducati then get overtaken by both the Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP team and the Repsol Honda team. although the gaps are actually starting to get a little bit bigger between them. The Yamaha team now 20 points clear of the Repsol Honda team, and obviously then therefore 26 points clear of the Ducati team, which can still be brought back, don't get me wrong, but the gaps are starting to get a little bit bigger again. In the Constructors' Championship then, of course, with Ducati not having a great weekend, Yamaha actually moved back ahead of them, only 2 points behind Honda now. Of course, Yamaha and Ducati were joint on points going into this race. And Ducati has slipped quite a bit further behind them now, 15 points back. Again, that's actually quite a big gap for the Constructors' Championship, because you could only have a 25-point swing there, and that's extremely unlikely to happen. So Yamaha really setting themselves up nicely for the end of this season. So then we'll head into the Career Hub now and see what we've gained from this weekend. Should be quite a bit, because a pretty decent weekend on both fronts here. So then this weekend gaining the maximum reputation because we met the qualifying and the race objectives there. So 18,200 reputation points, which takes us up to 640,800. So we finally undid all that damage from the Kimi Ring and of course Brno. In terms of the credits then, once again we gained quite a lot, 112,506. The 40,000 from both of the Moto3 riders and then the 31,000 myself. It just seems so weird to me that I get more money from my Moto3 race. Obviously there is 2 riders there, but I get more money from that than I do from a MotoGP race. And I'm sure I used to get more reputation in Moto2 than I did in MotoGP, so it does seem quite strange to me. But we're now up to 1,230,877 credits. And on the team prestige then, we still gained quite a bit, so 259, 125 from the 10th position, 95 from the 13th position, and then another 39 from Jackson's qualifying. 325 research data as well is always nice. We don't really have many anyway because we just started the development of that part earlier on in the episode, but it's nice to start at the base again. We'll be looking at an engine upgrade for the next one, I'm sure. So then no notifications on this front. Is there any on here? No, there's not. Still one more week then till the team development can be done again in Moto3, so I think we'll have to have a look at that then in the next episode. How much research data have we got? 462. We need 2,100 for that upgrade, 2,000 for this one as well. So yeah, we are going to need to... I don't think we'll be able to really do any more upgrades before the end of the season. I could be wrong. Well, actually, you get 300 per race-ish, so yeah, I think we'll struggle to actually do any more upgrades now for the rest of the season. But of course, it's already looking quite good, and then sort of next season we'll sort out the riders, and then of course there'll be the Moto2 team that we should be adding as well for the next season. I could have afforded it on this season by the looks of it, because my money has basically stayed static the entire season. Well, it's gone up actually, I think, a little bit, but it's not really changed an awful lot, so we could have definitely afforded a Moto2 team as well. I just thought we couldn't. Let me know what you want me to do with the videos on that as well, guys, because obviously right now the videos are quite long with my race and the Moto3 race, but if I had a Moto2 race as well for next season, the video will be ridiculously long, so I don't know what to do with that. I'll either have to chop more bits out of each race, you know, really not show much, maybe not show my qualifying. I'm not too sure. Let me know what you guys want me to do. Of course, I'm also open to doing a separate video. I've seen, I think Robbo does that as well with his Moto2 and Moto3 junior teams. I think he does a different video with them and then his own race in a different one. So if you want me to do something like that, of course I can do that as well. But obviously I always do like to do my own kind of thing. So if you're all alright with me sticking it in one video and cutting more bits out, then I can do that as well. But obviously it just means it'll take longer for me to record one video, so I might have to reduce the frequency. Well, I will be reducing the frequency anyway, but I'll talk about that in a future video. I've got some probably a channel update to do, really. But anyway, enough about that. That's nothing to do with the episode particularly. So the race itself, not great in terms of action. I mean, for me it was a great race, obviously because I pulled away, but I'm sure for you guys, in terms of the action, it wasn't a great race. Moto3, again, it wasn't great just because they struggled to get past people. And I think that's just the thing at Silverstone on this game, because there was a few passes going on here and there, but you saw some of the top riders that started in the back couldn't get their way through. So obviously it must be quite difficult for the AI to pass at this circuit. But I've not got anything else to say, so I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your day. Hope you're all staying safe, and I shall see you in the next one.